What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we have a legend run with a team using Carbink. Now Carbink has been very inaccessible for the masses, but this coming weekend is Global Go Fest and Carbink is going to be in 2-star raids, which means you can not only solo it, but you can also potentially grind it out with friends if you want to. Obviously, that comes with needing to pay up money, but you could technically get a couple for free with your free raid passes, but it is in the masses, and we're going to see if it might be worth it for you to go do those raids, as we do have a battle submission with a very strong team, Alolan Ninetales, Medicham, and Carbink. So shout out to me Peen230 for sharing these battles with us. Congrats on Legend. Let's go and get right into it. All right, getting into the first battle. Now, this is done on an iPad, I believe, which is why I have this setup over here. I know it doesn't show the movesets and the Pokemon, but we have a Charm Alolan Ninetales, a Medicham, and a Carbink. Carbink being a rock fairy type Pokemon. So we do have Shadow Quagsire here on the lead, so Charm going to do very nice in this matchup. They just need to watch out for that Stone Edge, right, because of the ice typing here on the Shadow Alolan at Ninetales. So they're going to decide to let the first charge move go through. It is the Stone Edge. Boom! One shots. All right, we're starting off with a bang, as Medicham now is going to be coming in, and it has Power Up Punch and Psychic being the moveset, as they will let the Mud Bomb go through a decent amount of neutral damage. And we do see a swap out now into Cofagrigus. So the Psychic now going to be coming through for neutral damage, and we'll probably see a swap out here into Carbink, and let's see what it is made of. This looks to be a Rock Throw, Rock Slide, and Moonblast combination. And for those of you who might just be, you might have been living under a rock and it wasn't Carbink's rock, you might be wondering, what is this Pokemon? Why is everyone so excited about it? What is going on? This is a Rock Fairy with the same kind of bulk as a Bastiodon. So Bastiodon being Rock Steel. With Rock Fairy, you only take neutral damage from fighting type moves. You have Moonblast there for dark type Pokemon and dragons and what have you, and fighting. So it's basically a better version of Bastiodon. Now Bastiodon does better against flyers because of the Rock Steel combination, but ultimately Carbink is a new part of the Great League meta, and I'm not saying like new part of the meta, it's ranked number 50. No, as of the other day, it was the #1 Pokemon in the Open Great League, which was Carbink. That could have been updated by the time you're seeing this video or what have you. It is very, very good. But it looks like in this game, oh man, this is going to be close. Rock Throw, I think the Dugong takes this here, if I'm being honest, especially since they went for the Icy Wind. Let's see, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5. No, Carbink tanks it! Literally tanks it and takes it right there. Good game. So Carbink does need to be XL as well. I don't believe it needs to be like level 50. Depending on IVs and what have you, but you will need some XL candy for it, which is why this is going to be a grind. And the fact that it's only in raids kind of rubs me the wrong way. I would have loved to have seen it as a wild spawn. It's better than eggs though, because egg exclusives are so annoying. I would rather have raid exclusive than eggs, because you're paying anyways for an incubator or raid pass. At least I know I'm going to get that Pokemon and I can solo it. Alright, so we have a Bastiodon here on the lead. They're going to go ahead and swap out into the Carbink. And let's see how this matchup goes. It's going to take a while. Okay, both Pokemon just doing nothing to each other. Charge move coming through, likely going to be Flame. No, they're just going to go ahead and go for Stone Edge. Decent amount of neutral damage right there, but Carbink holding on just fine. But this is where, in this matchup, Bastiodon does quite a bit better, because Rock Slides are not going to be doing anything. So while Carbink is better against the meta overall because of the Moonblast and the typing, in the fight against Bastiodon still does Bastiodon things, as they will now swap out to a Shadow Machamp. But Carbink not able to get to the charge move, and this is devastating because Alolan Ninetales now has to come in order to charm down, and they have to watch out for the Rock Slide right here. They will give up a shield as well, and it's going to be up to Medicham to win this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Sableye on the team. So let's see how this plays out. Bastiodon doesn't have a charge move. already. I think it's very close to 1. They're going to go ahead and swap out right away. They do throw the charge move here, so that's a good catch on Medicham. Hopefully it was the Stone Edge. No, it's going to be the Flamethrower there for neutral damage. Final Pokemon is not coming out. They're going to go ahead and go for Power Up Punch here to increase their attack, and then look to commit to the farm down. And the final Pokemon is actually going to be a Medicham Mirror. So they're going to go ahead and look to go... they're going to go for Power Up Punches. This is such a dangerous situation because the Bastiodon still has a good amount of health, while the Medicham right here needs to try to delay the switch clock to keep itself alive for 1 counter, which they're going to look to do. 1 more Power-Up Punch, and this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. They can swap into Alolan Ninetales now to get ahead on energy. Not get ahead, but charm down, keep their Medicham alive so that they can counter down the Bastiodon. They just have to get rid of this Medicham right now with charm. Hopefully Bastiodon doesn't come back in. They do charm down. Bastiodon is going to be coming in. It has a good amount of health left. Double Weather Ball might actually be enough to take this one, as Alolan Ninetales has a good amount of HP still remaining. There's the first one. Can they get to the second one in time? Yes, with 1 HP and a dream, Alolan Ninetales is able to take it. So we see just how good this team can be. Obviously, you and I both know how strong Alolan Ninetales and Medicham are. Now, Carbink in a Bastiodon matchup, we saw that was definitely one-sided, right? Bastiodon is still the king of tanks when it comes to those kinds of matchups, in the not in the mirror, but against a Carbink. Obviously, Bastiodon doesn't do as well against stuff like Registeel, Galarian, and Stunfisk, which are also very meta tanks that you guys could have on your teams. But Carbink, like I said earlier, is a bulky version just like Bastiodon, but has a different typing so that it can handle Sableye, Umbreons, Medichams, right? Does very, very well against those. Alright, so we have Ninetales now on the lead versus Superior. So let's see how they decide to play this. Both Pokemon doing a lot of neutral damage to each other. The Superior is going to be coming from those charge moves. As Frenzy Plant could be a Leaf Tornado. I love running mine with Leaf Tornado. It is going to be the Frenzy Plant though, and they do decide to give up a shield. Now, Superior does pretty well against a Carbink, right, with super effective damage, so they want to get it out of the way, as they can put pressure here with Weather Ball, and the opponent does decide to shield, and they're going to be looking to go for it. Now, this is a big tell that they might have something weak in the back. My thoughts might be a Flyer back there, so an Altaria. And we don't see a swap out. We're going to see the full charm down. Now, let's see what decides to come in. It's going to be a Bastiodon. So this is so unfortunate right here. You know, I wonder if there's a Alolan Marowak on this team. There might not be. This was, I made a team a long time ago. A year, 2 years ago. No, it's going to be a Noctowl or a Pidgeot. So there is, it doesn't matter. Carbink's going to take it. The opponent surrenders. That is all over. So there was a Flyer in the back, which is why we saw the lead matchup play out the way it did. But a while back, I loved the team of Superior, Bastiodon, and Alolan Marowak, if you guys remember that, a couple years back. All right, we got Noctowl here on the lead, so Charm putting in a lot of work. Obviously, you got a Carbink to handle that as well. But let's see how they decide to play this. Now, Noctowls usually pair pretty well with stuff like Lantern and Medicham, so they got to be careful with their Carbink. And maybe keeping the Alolan Ninetales alive, because that could come in crucial here as the opponent decides to shield. Yeah, they got a Medicham in the back right here. If Noctowl is going to be shielding, trying to get this Alolan Ninetales low, and they know it. They're going to go ahead and give up 2 shields for this situation and look to charm down. They swap out into Carbink. There's it's a Surfetch. Okay, so it's not a Medicham, but same difference, and this is where things get very interesting. Now, Leaf Blade here is going to be doing super effective damage, which is why the Bastiodon Steel typing really helps out, but they can go ahead and go for Rock Slide here. It's going to be resisted, but the opponent might think it's a Moonblast. No, they decide to let it go through as they go ahead and go for another charge move. The question is it Double Fighter in the back? The Leaf Blade now will take out the Carbink. Alolan Ninetales ready to go, come in, 2-tap charm. Maybe even a 1-tap. No, they're going to come in with Medicham instead, get a healthy counter down. Loaded on energy, and let's see what decides to come in. Here we go. Noctowl has a good amount of energy. Yeah, they go ahead and have a charge move ready to go. Hopefully this isn't Shadow Ball. No, it's just going to be the Sky Attack. Still a lot of super effective damage, and it's going to be a Medicham in the back. So it was double fighter, and there was a Medicham in the back. Again, Noctowls and Medichams are like peanut butter and jelly, man. Like, it is a beautiful combination. And the opponent, I believe this is going to be Power-Up Punch. That was a bit quick. Could be Ice Punch. No, it's Power-Up Punch, yeah. That was a bit quick. They can go ahead and go for Weather Ball here. Oh, they're going to go for the Psyshock. Weather Ball... I feel like Weather Ball does more damage. Okay, it ultimately doesn't matter. They should be able to counter down. It's going to be close. I feel like Weather Ball might have been the better call there. It's Stab. Let's see. No, the opponent got a Psychic off, so that's going to be a good game. I don't know off the top of my head, just as of recording right now, in that specific situation, but I definitely feel, because Weather Ball is Stab, and I feel like it might have done just that extra, like, 4 HP that they needed right there. Maybe a bit more. Could be wrong. Maybe you guys can let me know. Maybe you guys are doing the sim right now on PV Poke, and as I'm saying this, you're typing it in. Shout out to you. Thank you for sharing that knowledge, but it doesn't matter, because Alolan Ninetales versus Dragonair is obviously very positive. We will see a Lickitung here on the safe swap, and this is a big tell. Usually Dragonairs on the lead pair with Bastiodons. This is typically what I have seen. Maybe you have too. So they got to be very careful about keeping Medicham alive, because they will definitely need it for the Bastiodon, because there is no way an Alolan Ninetales and a Carbink can take down a Bastiodon whatsoever. So they will need to swap out against the Dragonair into Carbink to bait out the Bastiodon. They're going to have to... They don't give up a shield. Uh-oh. This is going to be risky. Oh, man. All right, let's see what happens. I could be completely wrong, by the way. There may not be a Bastiodon back there, and they will be sailing. It's a Lantern. Okay, I was completely wrong. Just, shh. Just be quiet. Stop doing my predictions. They're not working out anymore. They have Alolan Ninetales now for the Lantern, obviously. The Carbink, having that, not pure rock typing, but weak to Surf, and can still do well against the Dragonair. They're just going to come in and just 2-shield charm down, and it's all over. That's a wrap. Thankfully, it was not a Bastiodon back there. I thought for sure there was, just because of what I've seen in the past in a Lickitung safe swap. It just screams Bastiodon. But they will be able to charm down, and that is going to be a good game. The Dragonair is not going to be able to do anything. Yeah, that's a wrap. Body Slam, or a Body Slam might be able to KO. Let's see. It does KO, but Carbink's like, pew pew, see ya, good game. Yeah, it's all over. All right, moving into the next one. We got quite a few battles today as well, as this battler does hit Legend. So huge congrats to them. We're kind of halfway through. This is the Xerneas. Very nice. Beautiful. Okay. I didn't know this was in the battle submission, but that's okay. I think this was their Legend part where they hit Legend, and then they do another set after. But congrats on hitting Legend and getting, there we go, beautiful, and getting a legendary Pokemon on that one as well. So let's see if they get the Pikachu Libre here. They're going to go ahead and go, yeah, we're going into the next battle. But yeah, Carbink, very, very strong. I'm going to be definitely getting some, at least for Pokedex, or getting some for trade fodder this weekend, obviously, because you want to try to get some good IVs, but ultimately I will not get enough XL candy. Now, you could potentially use your XL rare candy for that. That might be a good situation, as we do see a Shadow Walrein safe swap right here. I feel like the Carbink might have been a good swap in. I mean, either way, Medicham does great in this matchup as well, especially with Power-Up Punch. They're just going to need to shield one Icicle Spear, as it's quite a bit of damage coming from a Shadow Walrein. So they're going to go ahead and counter down, but yeah, they're going to have to... No, they decide to no-shield. Oh, this is going to be close. Icicle Spear, barely not enough damage, and they do take Switch, which is still good. So maintaining Switch, that's what's really important. And we will see that Medicham come back in and farm down. Now, thankfully, the Medicham on the other side is not going to be getting a lot of energy, which might have been the call why they decided to no-shield the second Icicle Spear. And there's a Bastion in the back. Oh, man. See, this is the tough thing. This is the absolute tough thing when you use when the opponent has something very, very... If they safe swap a tank, like a Walrein, a Lickitung, in my head, I always think there is a Bastiodon in the back, which is why I mentioned maybe the Carbink might have been a better option for the Bastiodon matchup, or for the Walrein matchup, I should say, because it's doing super effective damage with Rock Throw and Rock Slide against the Shadow Walrein, right, with that Ice typing, and you have Medicham, because a lot of teams are ABB, a lot of us run it, and if there is a tank safe swap on an ABB, there is likely a second tank back there, and they're trying to bait out your hardest counter, which is how I think about it. But this battler hit Legend with Carbink, so it don't matter. They got it anyway, so who cares? It's Carbink. It's a very strong Pokemon in the meta, but obviously it's met its match against the Bastiodon, so Caleb Pang is smiling down from his cat penthouse that he has. Good game. All right, let's see. We're going to be moving to the next battle. We've got, let's see, Ninetales on the lead versus Defense Form Deoxys. Okay, so they got to watch out for the Rock Slide, but ultimately Charm in this situation is doing very well for them. And Alolan Ninetales with a Defense Form Deoxys lead. Defense Form Deoxys pair very well with Dark-type Pokemon. Not necessarily Greninja like I ran a week ago, but Dark-type Pokemon in general, because the biggest weakness that is commonly seen is going to be Ghost-type Pokemon. I know you guys will all go, well, Bug-type Pokemon, right? Because of Dark and Psychic. Well, Bug-type Pokemon really haven't been in the meta outside of Galvantula in a long time, because there are way too many Rock and Steel-type Pokemon. So Registeel does swap in. Here comes the Medicham, and they need to bring Medicham into this matchup. Carbink is not a good option, like we talked about before, but ultimately Medicham needs to try to get rid of this Registeel, which is going to be able to potentially get to 2 Zap Cannons. That's what's very dangerous, especially if they get the debuff. They do get the debuff right there. So this is going to be... Oh, the opponent just decides to surrender. Okay. All right, we'll take that one. We take those. Maybe it was an Umbreon in the back. That would have been nice. Okay. Good game. Let's see how this next game goes. But yeah, Carbink, I mean, really strong Pokemon. One that you should have on your wish list for the long term. But what I want to emphasize to you watching right now is don't go out of your way to spend a ton of money if you're not in a position where you want to, right? Maybe you have money set aside where you're like, this is my Pokemon Go money every month, maybe 20, 30 bucks, whatever, that I use for Pokemon Go. Don't feel the FOMO, right? I would suggest that you guys use your free raid passes to go do a couple so you can get Pokedex, right? And so that you can have it available. So if you want to invest rare candy and you want to invest XL rare candy in the future to build yourself it, but don't go like hog wild if you can't, right? And don't worry about that. I won't be. I'm just going to be getting a couple of them. I'm hoping to maybe get 6 potentially this weekend, so I have a couple for trades, and then I'll try my best to get as much candy as possible with that, but just utilize XL rare candy in the future to build it. Okay, so we see a Swampert here on the field. Medicham is going to go ahead and come in and load up on energy. Does need to watch out for the Hydro Cannon, but they decide to let it go through. So the Hydro Cannon does so much neutral damage, and here comes the second one. They will have to give up a shield on this one, but they should be able to farm down now as Swampert is going to be out of energy, and we do see a counter swap back into Charizard, so they're going to go ahead and go for the power up punch, I should say. As they decide to let it go, it does KO. They are boosted with their attack. What is the final Pokemon? Let's find out. It's going to be an Umbreon. That is devastating, as there is a Charm Alolan Ninetales in the back, which is going to shred both Umbreon and the Swampert, and Medicham right here with counter and power-up punch is just going to get out of control. Thankfully, Umbreon is still very, very tanky, so it doesn't really matter. But they should be able to get to one more power-up punch in time, but they don't. So they're going to go ahead and let this go through. Charm is the clear winner here with the super effective damage against Umbreon and the neutral damage against Swampert. So all they need to do is safely shield. I feel like this chart, maybe save the shield for Swampert. Yeah, they're going to save the shield for Swampert as this foul play is going to be resisted. Swampert does, oh, it gets 2 tapped anyways. That's fine. It's going to be a good game. All right, moving into the next one. We have, well, we're going to find out in a minute. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Is that like the play style that you guys do when it comes to new Pokemon, especially new XL Pokemon? Do you guys just kind of get the Pokedex, get some trade fodder? What I mean by trade fodder is if you get 6, like I'm planning to get 5 of those, could be trades with someone else if we want to do a 1-for-1 so that I could try to roll better PvP IVs. At least that's what I try to do, especially when you go to special events, whether it's Go Fest or Safari Zones or regional tournaments for Play Pokemon. It's always great to have trade fodder there, and Carbink is going to be a hot one over the next couple of months because it's only going to be available in raids right now. So they're going to go ahead and shield the rock slide here against Defense Form Deoxys and look to go for a Weather Ball, trying to put some shield pressure here on Defense Form Deoxys. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a Dark type in the back as they decide to no shield and they don't get charmed down in time. They're going to no shield the rock slide though, as the Psycho Boost is not enough to KO, and now we get to see what comes in. It's going to be a Noctowl, so they have a great matchup here with Carbink with the super effective damage, and let's see what the final Pokemon is going to be as they're deciding to stay in. This is a rough situation here for Noctowl. They can still do neutral damage with Shadow Ball and actually a decent little chunk right there, but ultimately if they're not swapping out, it means they're weak. First thought is it could be a Dugong right back there. That's what I'm reading right now. Second thought is it could be a Charizard, right? Charizard's another one if it's double flyer, so let's find out. Third thought is Alolan Ninetales. Did I get it right? Yeah, I got it right. It's going to be Charm Alolan Ninetales though, which unfortunately for Medicham is going to be devastating as they are forced to swap in now, and they have to get to this Psychic in order to take it out. And this might get very, very close as the Noctowl is still alive in the back as they do stop the Weather Ball. They have to throw the Psychic right away so that Medicham has as much health as possible to fight against the Noctowl. And let's see how this goes. Here we go. I think Noctowl gets to the charge move. No, they don't! The Power-Up Punch is able to come through, and Carbink has enough health where even if the Noctowl has the charge move right now, which it does, I think Carbink takes this. Let's see. Rock throw. One, two. Just one. Yep, that's going to be a good game. So Carbink was able to take it right there. And that's why you saw that they were so core broken, right? My first thought was Dugong. Second thought was Charizard. And ultimately it was an Alolan Ninetales. But it's along that similar thought process, right? Where you recognize, hey, my opponent's doing something weird. They're staying in this matchup, which is clearly a loss for them. They must be core broken. They must have something else weak, so I need to kind of play to that and make adjustments. It doesn't matter if I got the call correctly, whether it was a Charizard or Dugong. You got the call that they were weak. In this case, it was a Alolan Ninetales. So good play right there. But yeah, that's just how I like to think about my games whenever I'm playing against someone. You always read what they're doing and what they're not doing so that you can try to get an advantage, a technical advantage in some way to make the correct decision in order to win the game. All right, we got Shadow, Alolan Sandslash here on the lead. We got the Carbink safe swap, and now they can easily go for a drill run, putting a lot of pressure here. They're going to go ahead and let it go. Now, first thoughts here when I see Shadow, Alolan Sandslash is Medicham and Azumarill in the back. There's the Medicham, so I would not be surprised if there's an Azumarill in the back. It's a very meta team, very common, especially in the higher ranks. But Moonblast right here does a lot of super effective damage, and you actually get a shield in that matchup. That is crazy against a Medicham, having the bulk of Bastiodon and getting a shield from a Medicham. That is so cool to see as they go ahead and go for the Rock Slide for some chip damage. And now Alolan Ninetales is going to go ahead and come in and try to do as much charm damage as possible. Now Medicham could still win this game for them if they get the debuffs against the Azumarill. And this is a perfect opportunity for them to be able to counter down the opponent's Medicham as the Ice Punch. Yeah, they're going to swap out. This is the perfect chance. Sandslash actually swapped in. It's going to be an Altaria in the back. So this is actually going to be closer than I thought. They don't have Ice Punch. They have to shield everything. Sandslash as well has some energy, so they got to be very careful. They're going to go ahead and go for Power-Up Punch for the shield bait. And if the opponent calls it correctly, they win the game. Let's find out. They didn't call it correctly. They shield the Power-Up Punch, and now they have the... They're going for another Power-Up Punch. I thought they were going to go for the Psychic here, but it's... Oh, this is going to get really dicey. Here we go. Do they get to the Psychic in time? They do. This is going to be one-shotting the Altari, and that's going to be a good game as they are boosted out of their mind. Boom. And here comes the Sand Slash getting fully countered down, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. So if you were wondering right there, what was the Altaria doing not throwing the charge move? Medicham still had one shield remaining. So what they needed to do was try to get the back-to-back Sky Attack before the Medicham got to that double Power-Up Punch Psychic. That was the race that we were seeing right there, because it's over anyways if you can't get rid of the Medicham, right? Because the Sand Slash in the back just gets countered down. So really good set right there. Huge, let's go ahead and go back. Huge congratulations to MePintu30 for hitting Legend. Thank you for sharing this team with us. Again, it was a Carbink showcase so that you guys can see what it's capable of in the Great League meta. And if you guys want to get it this weekend, again, my advice is to use your free raid passes, lock those in, get some trades, get some extra candy, and utilize XL rare candy and rare candy in the future to power it up. That way you don't spend as much money right now when you could be spending more time catching the event Pokemon and stuff, right? Instead of trying to hunt down all of these raids. But that you do what you want. That's just what I'm going to do in my advice. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.